Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to the channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk, email info@lindycowling.co.uk, and the way to contact me for sessions, for bookings, for media, for inquiries would be via that email address, please. So the title of this video this evening is The Shift Acceleration. The Shift Acceleration. Now, I am sure, just like me, in the course of your evolution, in the course of your journey, that you have gone through countless amounts of shifts. And when I'm saying shifts, I mean shifts in your perception, shifts in your awareness, shifts in your awakening, shifts in your consciousness, shifts in the switchover between knowledge and wisdom. And perhaps in the early days of your evolution, or perhaps you are in the early days of your evolution, but in those earlier days, those shifts seem to be slightly more spread out. And so you would have a shift and then it would be so long, then you would have another one. Except at the moment, everything seems to be accelerating. Now, generally, as a whole on this planet, our perception of everything is accelerating, and time itself, shall we say, and that's another video in its own right, has accelerated significantly. But it isn't just that. It is as you go up in your vibratory rate and frequency within your own personal evolution, the gap between the shifts that you experience becomes smaller. And the reason it becomes smaller is because as you go up in your vibratory rate of your evolution, you get less and less far away, moving away from that 0 point neutral state of consciousness. So let me explain it in another way. As you go up in your frequency or vibration, in your original evolution, if you follow that original rate, you hit a shift and then it takes a number of weeks, months, or even a few years to go through that part of the process. Then you go on to the next part, there's another shift, and sometimes it might be slightly different than that, but I'm just generalizing here. As your consciousness increases over a period of time and you become more and more conscious, which is a 0 point neutral unified state, when you have a shift, then if you are maintaining the majority of the time a 0 point field of energy, when you have a shift in that, let's say the evolutionary jump or the quantum jump is far less from 0 point to what it was when you had to jump from here to here, if you're just jumping from here to here. So you're moving in your vibration and frequency a smaller distance, shifting before you come back into a 0 point state. Now, when I say come back to a 0 point state, that's one way of explaining it, but actually what you're doing is you're integrating a 0 point integrated energy state or energetic state as the anchored embodiment of it. So when I say come back to that, that's just one way of explaining it. I don't mean you're going back in your evolution or backwards. I mean returning to would probably be a better word to use, your 0 point state. So when I say returning to your 0 point state, because you've had a shift, you will be returning to an elevated state of 0 point energy. I know this sounds a bit crazy. I'm trying to explain it as basically as I can, because as I'm explaining it, I have the knowing on it and I'm explaining it as I'm going along here. And I've only had the knowing on this for about a week, which was actually stimulated by my stumbling, if you like, across a TV program on the theories of Einstein, actually. And I'll get into that in a minute. That's what stimulated it. It stimulated it, and I was like, aha, but I already know this bit, and aha, I know this bit. And you'll do that. You'll come across a book or a video or someone doing a talk or some kind of information that will just kickstart some awareness or knowing that you have in you anyway. So if you're at a point in your evolution where you're around a 0 point neutral unified state of anchored embodied being, that's a mouthful, and I'm not going to say that again. When you have your shifts, they are different to the early days of shifting because you don't move so far away from your integrated anchored 0 point to shift, and what happens is 0 point rises with you. So when you go back to it, I mean you return to 0 point, but you don't go backwards in your evolution, or it's not a backwards step. And it's not so far. And in the end, shall we say, what will happen is in the last, shall we say, of those shifts, you will get to a point where this is 0 point, this is the shift, they touch, and then you have the Big Bang. Then you have the Big Bang, the creation of consciousness, the merging of, well, that's made my hair go on in saying that. Oh, my hair's just gone, so that's a big hit. The merging, oh, and again, I'm covered in goosebumps. The merging of past, present, and future. Oh, I'm absolutely covered in goosebumps up and down my body here, right the way down my legs to my toes. The merging of past, present, and future in one intricate inner Big Bang. That is a quantum field of energy. In other words, past, present, future, all timelines, the multidimensional soul, the awareness and the full anchored embodiment of all paradigms, all dimensions, all times, all realities, all outcomes, all timelines in one creationary, elevated, maximized 0 point state of consciousness. Now, I've probably just rewritten the laws of physics by saying that, or rewritten the laws of quantum physics. I don't know. But all I can say is I'm covered in goosebumps from head to toe, so I know that's correct. And it is an inner state of evolution where all of those points of consciousness and all aspects of you in your multiple opportunities of realities and timelines and outcomes all come together, rushing together through that vast pot of potentiality and hit that creationary 0 point aspect of you, and you become you in your mastery, the fullness of you, the ultimate you, the authentic you, an aspect, an expression of source in your highest fashion, 24/7. Empowered in all the best senses of the word. And at that point, it is no longer willful mind trying to create a positive outcome or reality. At that point, you are dancing as a co-creator, as an aspect of or with source, in a creationary moment, a moment that applies to all aspects, all dimensions, all realities, all paradigms of you, of us, as a multi-dimensional soul. And I want to use the word prism, prism. A multi-dimensional prism. Now look what I'm doing with my hands there. I had to laugh because I'm literally, this is coming straight through me, from me, but through me in some ways as a heart channel. But look what I'm doing with my hands there, and I didn't even know I was doing it. They just went like that as I was talking. So a prism is created. And I can actually see that prism almost, I'm going to call it as a triangular or triad. And I think I'm going to say a word, I don't even know if it's been invented yet. A triodal. I'm going to have to write that down because I've never said that word in my life. A triodal. In fact, I'm going to write that down now because I'll forget. A triodal energy field, a prism that is the embodiment, you as the embodiment of that. So it's not an energy field you tap into. When you hit as an inner explosion of your own consciousness, that's, I'm going to call it that final integration into 0 point consciousness, authentic consciousness. Because when I say final, I don't mean that you stop shifting and developing and learning. I don't get that impression at all. What I mean is, it seems to be then you're integrated and then you are integrated and that's it. You're not sometimes conscious, sometimes not conscious. You're integrated and then you go all the way up from, let's say, a different level of consciousness, your base level being 5th dimensional and up. So you don't drop below that. And what happens is there is a, I don't know if this is a real word. If it's not, I've just invented it. I'm going to Google it after this. I'm sure you will as well. Triodal prism of consciousness, of energy that is within your anchored embodiment, which means you are not just affecting, you are creating and walking around like creating aspects of your reality. Now, something else that's coming to me very strongly here is at that point when that happens, you are no longer part of the original interfered with holographic programmed reality. When you hit, I can't even say the word, the toroidal, when you hit the toroidal aspect of consciousness within you, which is the inner explosion of consciousness, the inner Big Bang, when you hit that final one, you will have your entry point out of the manipulated, interfered with, holographic, programmed reality into the true, empowered, embodied, anchored reality of the authentic 0 point conscious you. And these accelerating shifts, if you are experiencing accelerating shifts, smaller times between the gaps, they might still be quite strong, those shifts, but you come back to that 0 point of consciousness quite quickly. You know, it's like this, and the gap's getting shorter and shorter until you hit that point. They are all stepping stones towards it. Now, I'm smiling to myself here because this is one of those videos where, as I am talking, literally the information is being presented to me in picture form, in sound form, in the knowing, in, you know, goosebumps all over. And there are a couple of things there that I've just said that I'm going to have to go Google afterwards, because it's just come straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And yet the knowing on it has been building for about a week since I saw this program. I was on my laptop. This program was on in the background. So I heard a couple of terms in it. Suddenly it was like, oh, hang on a minute. And that's what began it. It was talking about aspects of Einstein's theory. Past meeting future, light codes, future codes, past codes, black holes being a star frozen at the point of collapse. They are outer models for the inner process that takes place in evolution, the inner that takes place in the evolution of consciousness. And I'm going to go as far as to say, which is a very brave thing to say, that Einstein laid the foundations down, but he only went so far, which, I mean, was amazing. But that we're putting the final pieces in the puzzle now. And when I say we, I mean as humanity. You know, again at this moment in time, and I'm going to say again at this moment in time, because I don't feel that this is the first time that we have reached these points. I feel these points were reached before, and that's, you know, in the civilizations of Atlantis and Lemuria, and that as civilizations then we messed it up, so we're reaching those points again now. So I hope you found that interesting. I mean, of course, how you will be experiencing these shifts will be very unique to you. You may be experiencing being exhausted. You may experience having tons going on in dream time absolutely loads going on in dream time. Loads of stuff. Some of it troubling in dream time, you know, nightmares. Some of it more happy dream time. You may be experiencing different body sensations, different way of feeling about the world, your perception changing. It may be challenging to people around you, or people may comment on, you know, you being different. All sorts of ways that this can come out. You may feel far more emotional than normal, or far less emotional than normal. All kinds of gizmos going on. So I'm hoping that some of you watch this video at a point where you're going to find this helpful. Whether you're at a point where your shifts are few and far between, but they're quite dramatic in a more linear sense, or whether you're at a point where you can feel the shifts there and you can actually feel it in consciousness, like a tsunami of it waiting, something waiting to come out or come through, or in terms of your awareness and your consciousness. Whatever way you're experiencing, I hope you find it helpful, and I hope by entertaining, if you like, the idea of some of what I've said there, that you find it exciting and amazing, or at least interesting. And that by finding it amazing or exciting or interesting, that helps you shift through it, or perhaps even creates a shift, a little push through it, till you get up to the rungs of consciousness, where you are bursting out of the egg, the holographic programming, and into your full mastery and empowerment. There was a video I brought out 2 to 3 years ago. I think it was about 2 to 2.5 years ago now, called Eggs, Infinite Consciousness, which I was only explaining a fraction of what I just said there from the awareness I had 2 to 3 years ago, which is significantly different to what it is today. But that is on my, it's on my YouTube channel still, and they're called Eggs at Infinite Consciousness. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm not sure if I'm going to record another one this evening. I may do. I may go straight on and do that. If I don't, there'll probably be one more out this week before Christmas. Then again, I'm going to say I'm going to have a week off with my family, relaxing, chilling out, just taking some time off, because the following week I have to then pack the house up with my family, because I will be moving at the beginning of February, you know, the early part of February. So, you know, I've got to be packing the house up and things like that. Sessions and bookings are as normal for January, and I'm taking bookings for January now. I will be doing a few sessions at the beginning of February, then I'll probably take another week or 2 off to kind of recover from the move, get settled in, get internet set up, things like that. So everything as normal for January, session-wise, work-wise, into early February. Then I may have to take a week or 2 off then, or in fact I know I will, because I'll be moving house. So, you know what that's like, getting everything organised. I hope to speak to you again soon. Like I say, I might record another one after this, or it may be later in the week. But on that note, I love you and leave you. As always, thanks for watching the channel. Hope you found it interesting. Hope you guys are all doing all right. And I'll love you and leave you. See you again soon. Bye. Bye.